for you.
So see handing those out.
Broke up.
Put your,
Good advice.
put your phone number on all of them.
Yeah.
For all the city.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Your city manager is not available.
Yeah.
Additional position.
City managers.
15, 20 between. Roundabout. You would let us. Be really nice.
Waiting for the lady's voice. I've already got it. Oh, really? Recording it. Didn't hear it. All right, well, you're going to begin our August 26, 2026 Sister City Council Workshop. Thanks to everybody for coming. First up is a Sheriff's Office update with our Lieutenant Davis. Welcome.
Good evening. So obviously we've had a busy summer and we're starting to get ready for school starting next week. So we'll be out in the school zones starting Monday and coordinating with our school resource deputy, Deputy Karpstein. And he's been there this week, kind of getting back in the groove with teachers and school administrators and whatnot. So he will be there bright and early Monday morning. Our deputies will be working those school zones, trying to get everybody back into the mindset of slowing down for those school zone signs. So we'll be out there. Kind of some technology updates. We'll be getting new body cameras, new in-car video. We're switching to a different vendor, which will hopefully help us out with some of the technological issues that we've had. Better administrative usage and also coordination with just a different company, different technologies. So we've had good luck with these. They've been very helpful. But we'll be getting new actual body cameras and new in-car video, both from the front facing and in the rear portion of our cars. So that'll happen next month. And then I've been working with staff a little bit on some issues we've been seeing with low speed vehicles. So had contact with a couple of, you would commonly say those are golf carts, but according to Oregon Revised Statute, they're low speed vehicles. So we've seen we've had a couple contacts with some drivers of those vehicles. They very much look like a golf cart. One of them actually has license plates, so they're licensed through DMV. But there's certain parameters on where they can operate, which roadways and whatnot. And so be working with staff to take a look at that and see if that's something that we want to address locally as far as what roadways those are allowed on or not allowed on. Typically, they're not allowed on a state highway. So Highway 20, Highway 126, any place that is more than 35 miles per hour. So that's something that we'll be looking at here the next month or so.
Have you guys had discussions already or is that upcoming?
We've started.
Okay.
Conversations, yeah.
It's I would say it's similar to electric bicycles, and it's the kind of the Wild West. New technology coming online, dealerships selling them locally, saying they're totally legal. You can drive these all over the place, and so it's would be an education piece as well, not only for the public but also for law enforcement, because we're not used to seeing them on roadways. So typically they're more popular around golf courses and resort communities where you may have a public street that is adjacent to a golf course that people would traverse from their house to a golf course. So it's something we'll be looking at coming up. So
I think it's a good conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
oh,
I was gonna say it's just a good conversation because once we set policy, then people will know what to do, right? I mean, that's important.
and it's also when people see them, then they're like, oh, I've got a golf cart, so can I drive it on the road? And
Well, and there's one that comes up and down past my house and they move along at about 20, but they're always on the wrong side of the road. So they go contrary to traffic. So that's another thing too, is, we need to just think about, if you want to use them as a vehicle, they need to follow the traffic laws.
rules of the road, and they're through some research. There's obviously federal motor vehicle standards they have to abide by. They have to have turn signals, headlights, seat belts, all that type of thing. So you can't just jump in your regular golf cart and start running down the road. So that's be something we'll be looking at. Yeah. That's all I have. Any questions?
I had a citizen comment that I said I would pass on to you, and again, it's just people driving very fast on the downtown corridor on Cascade. But I've been seeing patrol cars parked here and there this last week, and up there by Pine, the snow cap intersection there, that's pretty dangerous. So I appreciate that, seeing the deputies out there. Yeah, thank you.
I was out there myself today. I didn't get it.
Might have been you, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or eating an ice cream.
Yeah. I know you were on a email string with Gary and I, and the Forest Service in regards to, campfires outside the city, or anything like that. And so I'd really like to hear from you, if anybody is out, beyond the city limits or in the Forest Service area. I think there's always that confusion of, well, who do I call? Especially campfires or when it's dark after hours. So if you have any advice to share with that, that would be great.
Non-emergency, if it's something that's clearly, you have questions or your concerns, if it's an emergency, obviously 911, but I know there's some discussion about calling COIDC and things like that. Dispatch will route those calls to the proper jurisdiction, or if it needs to go to Forest Service or ODF or whatnot. So, and a first response would most likely be Sheriff's Office and Sisters Camp Sherman, especially if it was, illegal open burn, that type of thing. So, but they will pass it off to the right jurisdiction. So, I know there's been some influx of some folks that have been camping out there, and that's one thing nice with our new Forest Service law enforcement officer, Alex Benson, that we've been coordinating well with him, and we've been spending a little bit more time in that Three Creeks area of late. We've had more calls out there, probably a few more than we have kind of off the 100 road and west of town. So, and I don't know what to attribute that to, and we've had just recreational campers as well, people coming into town that are camping in the dispersed forest. So, but yeah, always call non-emergency, and, if you see something, say something. The call, if we're busy, it will get prioritized, but somebody will go out. So.
Well, and I would say, it's hard when a citizen sees that, especially towards dark. They don't want to go into the campsite and confront somebody because they don't know who's going to be. I think the fire that I called about turned out to be a propane. But the flames were quite high and they couldn't see the propane, so everybody's nervous.
Yeah, well, and
I prefer that they do that and we go out and the other way around.
exactly, yeah, it's better to go out and find out it's nothing than somebody who wasn't aware of the fire restrictions that are going on, so.
Has there been any citations or any investigation with the fire that was just south of the water treatment plant a few weeks ago?
Yeah, Deputy Hudson actually went out with Officer Benson, and they were contacting several camps, weren't able to determine exactly who the culprit was. But yeah, they were working on it, and that's still open. So if something were to come out, new information come to light, then they take action on it. But they were out there working on that the next day.
Okay. Anything you need from us?
No room for the fire truck.
Yeah, our next event's obviously Folk Fest, and so we'll be getting ready for that, but we're ready for after Labor Day when things kind of get back to normal, so. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a presentation about the Sisters GRO Scholarship Program. Councilor and Megan Roberts.
Probably recognize these from the paper, but things to look at.
Good evening, Council. Megan Roberts, who is the Executive Director of the Sisters GRO Scholarship Program, is with us tonight. And we are bringing this to you at the request of Councilor Pellerin, brought this up to the council a few months ago, as this was coming out in the spring of the scholarship recipients, and asked if the council would like to look into supporting a scholarship. So the staff report that I put out is pretty much pulled from their website. So it really speaks to the types of scholarships they have. It talks to how the scholarships are awarded. And I think tonight the question is discussion whether the city council would like to support an annual or renewable scholarship through the Sisters GRO is the first question. And then if so, there's a couple after questions we can get to determine how that process is. So I'll go through a couple little things and jump in if I'm misquoting here. So scholarships have a couple different structures. They can be an annual scholarship, which is a one-time gift, minimum of $1,000 with a 7% administrative fee that helps support the GRO's operations. Renewable scholarships, which are scholarships that may be 2, 3, or 4 years in the making. So maybe you're giving that same student $1,000 every year over that 4 years of a education. And then an endowed scholarship is a one-time investment, so that generates ongoing awards. So I really wanted to just really open this conversation up to council because this is a decision point if you would like to move forward with this. And then Reagan's here to answer those questions that you might have about the process.
I would say Cheryl and I met because I was in the CLA with cohort. And so I was meeting with Cheryl to talk about things like that. And she was like, oh, by the way, has the city ever approached you about doing a scholarship? Why aren't we on this list? You know, this comes out in the Nugget every May and shows all the businesses and families, things that contribute. And I said, you know, I've only been with the organization 3 years, so I don't know if there's been discussion prior to that, but there hasn't been. So yeah, so I thank you for inviting the discussion.
Thanks for being here. I think the questions I have was that around, and I think we're going to get to it eventually, but around we can define the requirement of the scholarship, right?
100%.
Okay.
Completely up to you, which is to a lot of people off-putting. They're like, don't I just give you money and then you award a scholarship? I'm like, no, it's actually your money to do what you want with it. But you can choose whether GPA matters, what type of school they're going to go do, 2-year, 4-year, what state, if they're going to go to school in Oregon or outside of it. I mean, you can really anything you can come up with, you can decide to make part of your criteria. Use essay questions, you can use ones that already exist, no questions, recommendation letters.
And then is the process that we would then have our own group that would review the applicants?
That is ideal. We have a GRO review committee that can facilitate that, but our preference is that the donors do that themselves because again, it's your funds. Yeah, so there's about a 3-week process in this year. It'll probably be the last week of February, first 2 weeks of March that the applications will be available to review. And at the end, I would need a selection. Or if you don't like any of them, you don't have to award it. Or if you like more than if you thought you were going to give one, but you really can't decide, you can give 2. We don't ask for a commitment until you actually have read the applications and chosen a selection.
And Reagan, can you kind of go through the process from a student's perspective?
Mm-hmm. So it's changed each year a little bit that I've been there because I'm learning. But I've already contacted this year's seniors at the end of last year, the current juniors from last year, and said, hey, here's who I am. Here's what you're going to hear from me. Here's our 3 most asked essay questions. If you're super bored this summer, you might want to get a head start on these. And then I'll start touching base with them throughout the fall. But really they apply basically the month of January. So I'll come in at the beginning of that and present to the whole class and walk them through step by step. They log in. It's all one general application where they fill out the basics, GPA, where they're going to school, what they think they want to do, right? They're 17, they don't know. But whatever they think they might do, what they maybe participated in high school. Did they play sports? Did they play an instrument? You know, whatever all of my scholarships are looking for. And so then they do that, and then that will give them the list of scholarships that they qualify for. So they don't see all of them right off the bat, and they don't have multiple applications necessarily for each of them. It's then if, okay, I see the city scholarship, oh, they want me to write an essay about civics. Okay, I'm going to write that essay. And so then they have a month basically to do as many as they want to do. And they submit those, and then the review committees get about 3 weeks. And then we put it all together. We do, one of the things that we started about 13 years ago, I believe, is the spread process. So because there's typically 65 to 70 different scholarships. There's 65 to 70 different committees of people. And so the right hand doesn't always know what the left hand is doing. And so to avoid having John Doe get every single scholarship because John Doe had a really compelling story or a really great GPA, we allow you to participate in our spread process. So you can give us a ranked list of these are the 5 applicants, however many you want, that we're 100% comfortable awarding our scholarship to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll start with our highest dollar scholarships and award those first. And then if we get to the next one and their first person has already got $10,000, we're going to go to the second person on the list. So hopefully it spreads out and allows everybody to get as much as they can get. Yeah. So we had 68 students, I think, last year, $385,000.
Right.
Do you do any kind of follow-up with prior recipients?
Yes.
What's your success rate there?
As far as getting information from them?
Well, information and whether they continue with their education and,
Yeah, I mean, again, 68 different students, you're gonna have 68 different points on that spectrum, and what their plans were and whether they respond to me or not. So typically the ones I hear from the most are the ones that have renewable scholarships, and so they need to get back in touch with me if they want to get an additional check. But quite a few of them, recently we just had Weitzman's, have both passed away now, but they for many, many years awarded a large scholarship. And I think they started before GRO even started. So quite a few of those recipients have, are quite successful in life right now. And we reached out to them saying we're going to start a memorial endowment fund and would they like to contribute. And quite a few of them have sent $2,000-3,000 in order to pay it forward. So we know quite a few are doing pretty well. Yeah.
So, I am going to risk having tomatoes thrown at me, but, I'm gonna start by saying I love the program and I love how many students it touches. So none of my comments have anything to do with the program. My hesitation in moving forward with something like this is that we are making decisions for future councils about kind of like our community giving. I would be into doing something that we're funding once. If that's what council wants to do, I would prefer not to commit future councils to this, only because I don't think that's something we generally do. We have one item in our budget that looks like we're giving money to a nonprofit every year, but that is actually giving money to FAN to do they're actually fulfilling some needs and running a program for us. So it's not that we're giving FAN money to do whatever they want with, they're helping us. So I want to be clear on that. So that's my hesitation. It's not because of the program. It's not that I don't want to give money to a senior. I would love to give all the money to all the seniors.
I totally understand that. The majority of my scholarships decide each year whether they're going to participate that year. Very few of them are committed past the current year.
And then if we were going to consider that, I would want to streamline how we do that each year, because I certainly don't want us to have a workshop each year. Maybe it gets discussed somewhere else. But anyway, so I'm going to stop, but I just wanted to.
I might be able to Jordan and I had an earlier discussion in case the council decided to move something like this forward. And we talked briefly about, it would probably be a resolution to, commit the funds, but we would probably do it, so that resolution may be held for 2 years. Right, so not maybe an every year, and it could be whatever, it could be 1 year, it could be 2, it could be 4, but we could work something out like that so it wasn't cumbersome necessarily for council or for the group. If you decide to move forward like that, we could do something like that.
And that kind of leads into what my thought is. And my thought is it would be exceptional if we could agree on an endowment that would pay for itself every year. And it would also be a placeholder for other people in the community maybe to want to add to that endowment on their own, and it would grow more money over the years. And then we're only making one decision for an endowment, and the endowment itself makes all the decisions down the road, whereas no other further money has to come out of the budget if we could come up with an endowment that said, whatever the amount we need to give for $1,000 the first year, and maybe the endowment grows on its own somehow for further years, and no other money's coming out of the budget. So that's my thought process. I love endowments because they're long lasting and they're really generally only one time out of pocket. So that's my thought, and I think a future leader award for City of Sisters or something like that would be pretty fantastic. And a unique opportunity again to do a one-time shot instead of having to come back every year and reevaluate. This is my thought.
No, GRO is very actively growing our endowment program. You'll hear more about that probably in the next couple of months. But so for example, it would be a $25,000 endowment, would be a $1,000 scholarship in perpetuity.
That's very interesting to me. And I really think it opens up an opportunity for other people to help us and not just have it be a City of Sisters. It could be a sisters country and everybody might have an opportunity and might want to add to that as well, just for our scholarship or that scholarship. Anyways.
So I'm gonna ask the hard question, folks in this room. I'm not, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I have things in my mind that I would want to see it go towards, and they're probably different from what's in your mind and 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 your mind. So one of the things we need to think about, if we choose to do this, is what is the focus? Is it just within the city limits can apply, any student that goes to high school can apply? Is it civics? Is it leadership? You know, and then if it's leadership, well, sometimes those other, your students that have the best opportunity because of what they're doing to have money coming in from other scholarship locations. Do we want to look at something that addresses a different part of the population? I don't know. I have no answers, but I think the hardest part may not be deciding whether we're going to do it or not. The hardest part may be deciding who we're going to target. What type of student, not who.
Yeah, no, I know. And I think I could be a service to you in that and also recommend that it wouldn't be set in stone from day one. Like what I've seen, you know, these classes are small, 100 kids or less. Every year there's a whole different group. This year was, you know, environmental science, and then there's mental health, and then, you know, and I have no art students one year. And, you know, so you can't get too specific because you're going to not have any applicants, but you don't want to be so broad. But I definitely can help guide you and talk through that process easily.
And again, one of the pieces that we had a discussion about was if the council moves forward and says they want to do that, that we could pull together, you know, a couple of counselors and perhaps Reagan and myself and or anybody, and kind of walk through and build out what people might want, and, you know, talk with counselors individually and find out what that might be, and then bring that back as a, you know, piece of that resolution. Again, something that's flexible enough for everybody, if you do determine that you want to move forward.
What is the average scholarship size?
Great question. I mean, a lot of $1,000 scholarships, for sure. Yeah, but so some students may receive 3 of those, right? So I have more average numbers based on what students are awarded.
What's the average student get then?
This past year, I believe, was 3,000, and the mean was 5,000. 3,000 and 5,000 were kind of right in there, but you know, you've got the highest dollar amount was 22,000 or something like that, and the lowest, our minimum this last year was 1,500. We've had a couple of donors that stepped up to ensure that, so any student that applied received at least $1,500, and we'd like to keep that going because it doesn't go as far as it used to in college.
I pulled up our good governance goals. And one of them is to continue to identify methods to support and encourage youth and young adults to feel welcome and involved in city meetings, projects, and events. So it's something to think about if we think that we can somehow through a scholarship program help us meet this goal that we all set for ourselves. That would be kind of maybe a guideline right there in terms of really, we're trying to inspire young adults to maybe be more interested in governance and leadership and so forth.
You have to come to every city council meeting the whole year.
Yes.
I think you have 2 CLA.
Take notes.
Right in that.
Why do you want to punish them?
Yeah.
I think $1,000 is gonna be enough.
I can make this easy for myself. I'm for yes for further discussion, and with no decisions having to be made today.
I'm comfortable, especially if taken into account what you said, Sarah. I think that's important. Council President, that perhaps we try it for a year and not, and then revisit it or whatever. It depends. And we may not even get to this until after the council is convened in January. So I just think that it's definitely worth us stepping up to the plate and seeing what we can do. So I guess where I'm at with it, I'm comfortable with proceeding. No dollar amount in mind and really no particular type of recipient in mind at this point in time.
So,
I want to double check the, you need to know by January.
Way sooner.
I'm
To
sorry.
be able to have the students applying in January, I
Yeah.
need details by end of November.
Yeah, that's it. Makes sense.
Yeah, criteria.
Carrie, what are you looking for from us?
So-
If we did a head nod, what does that need to cover?
Ideally, it would be a head nod to, yes, we want to sponsor a scholarship. Ideally, it would be great to get at least a not to exceed number. And then potentially actually have a couple counselors step up so we can put a working group together since we're going to be on kind of a deadline to get things done. So that would be ideal, but you can, go the direction that you would like.
Okay, well, we're not doing any motions tonight, but I mean, I would be okay with at your suggestion of a 2-year resolution for a 2-year scholarship and not to exceed
2 years in a row.
years.
I'm
Well, I don't know.
I'm just asking, I don't.
2036 maybe, and no, I think, but to
Have the resolution be effective for 2 years.
yeah, have it be effective for 2 years, and then I don't know. Someone else can come up with a not to exceed number, but I mean that's where I am. But I'm not speaking for
I
everyone.
would volunteer to help as well, do extra time if you need that, so nobody else feels burdened. And one other counselor, I would say. If Carol wants.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to be part of that subcommittee.
And I would be too, but I'm gonna be gone some, so I think to get somebody who's in town. So this work can move fast rather than working around my schedule.
And I don't think we have, I mean, no offense, I don't think we have to try and choose a dollar amount today. I think we can figure out as we're going through the process, what people might be comfortable with.
I kind of look to Joe if he's here and our esteemed city manager to kind of guide us with where that money might come from and what might be available within the budget without inflicting any damage to things that we need to do.
When does the money need to be deposited?
So we talked through this. So technically, in most years, we would give the money to GRO in about March.
The same time you make
Same
your
time you make your
selection.
selection. They're comfortable with us waiting through our budget process and then us cutting a check if you choose to do so July 1st in the new fiscal year. So it's actually budgeted. And then then it would be in the next budget as well. So you'd have that.
The
So,
March timeframe.
if we found it somewhere in this year's budget and we could do that, we could do the March piece, but they're very comfortable that our checks are gonna be good for them.
I'm not concerned.
See who signs them.
Just to clarify on the renewable scholarship, Reagan, our staff report here says that if we were to do like a 4-year renewable, that it's all paid up front, but you're saying that the students have to come back to you each year. So is GRO holding that money?
Yes. But we can't award money if I don't have it. Like somebody can tell me they're gonna give $5,000 a year and then I never hear from them again. So I'm only comfortable telling a student that they are receiving money that I actually have in my possession. That's where that comes from.
Wow, we don't even do that.
And I, as a staff to move forward with kind of the next pieces, I think the reason I put a not to exceed amount is also because it sounds like we can be a little bit flexible as we look at scholarships.
Absolutely.
Because we're gonna have to put at some point a number within a resolution, which would probably be the next step. It would come as a resolution. So again, it may be more of a discussion than tonight. It might be that the subcommittee looks at that, but if there's a number that maybe somebody for certain doesn't want to exceed, that would be good to know.
The high end, if we were gonna do 2 years, and the high end might be a $2,000 scholarship, so that'd be like a not to exceed $4,000. But it might be
Like
lower than that,
$4,100 or
whatever.
whatever.
Yes, plus the 7%, yes.
140,
$28.
7%.
Talking under 5,000. So we're
Yeah,
looking at.
just I'm throwing a number out, just
Yeah.
to start,
For the 2 years.
yeah,
That does answer
comfortable with that.
the ability for us to move forward, and answer questions and work on some transitional pieces.
I will say that I do think that the city of Sisters should be on that list. I feel very strongly about that, you know. How we do it, what we equate it to is a discussion for another day, but, I was surprised when I looked at this year's, that I didn't see our name in there, and I thought, oh yeah, that's right, we didn't do anything like that, so we should be.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people will feel like, it's, we are, the managers and the keepers and the protectors of our tax dollars. So as long as we feel like we can, comfortably, make that argument, especially, I don't want huge hoops for a scholarship applicant, but obviously it'd be great if there was something civics related, I feel that, I would feel much more comfortable, making sure tax dollars are going to somebody that might be looking into that career field and working in a great place like this someday, so, or just being a good citizen, so.
We also have a fee exemption process too, so throw that out there as far as tax dollars and how they're spent. There's a couple organizations that either in their bylaws or whatever, they're not allowed to, so we can consider that as well.
Okay. I mean, I'll also say, your idea was really intriguing as well, so I had kind of thought about that, and I mean, so 25,000 is kind of that entry level point, and,
You can do it over 5 years, even.
okay.
6,000 a year for 5 years, so that you're already giving the $1,000 scholarship those first 5 years, and then there's options
Yeah.
for that too, so.
It's really intriguing, because when I see endowment, I think like
Yeah.
$1 million, yeah, right, you see how many zeros. So that's a lot more palatable for sure, so, I think something to think about too. But it might be just, yeah, give it a try for a couple years, and if everybody's loving it, then that could be the next step, or just throw that out there, but.
I know one thing I'll be committed to when we go through this process is, as in the weeds a little bit, that one, we don't overburden ourselves, don't overburden the budget, and don't overburden staff or even grow themselves. I mean, we want to make this kind of easy, and if it's easy, 2 years from now, I would think that city council would go, oh, we didn't even know about it or didn't hear about it. It would be easy to renew or.
Yeah, all the work is
upgrade
up
or-
front, and then after that, it really is easy, so.
The endowment figure didn't scare me like I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah.
Right, Terry and I both just had seniors go through this process the last 2 years, and we're real familiar on all levels.
Yeah, and this program is, started with the Sister School Foundation, like,
Yeah.
sort of years and years ago, and I was on one of those initial review committees when they did that, so this program has, been long-lived through this. I think my son was 1 or 2 when that happened, so, yeah.
That speaks well for committing dollars to it. When you have something with a history of 18 to 20 years or whatever it is. or
Our
longer.
19th year, so
Pardon?
this will be our 19th year.
Yeah, that shows that it's being managed well. And, there's been some degree of success. The only time I see it in the paper is this, as opposed to maybe on page 2.
I don't have any nuggets this old, so you're doing great. Please tell your board, thank you for the opportunity, because I know they're involved as well.
You have everything you need?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rachel.
And
Me again.
Been Culvers.
Sorry. Sorry.
Only because I'm Zoom.
Next up, we have the Public Art Advisory Board Work Plan. Prosser. Thanks again.
Council.
Easy.
I am again. So this was something we've been talking about for quite a while. We had our first Public Art Advisory Board meeting yesterday, which we just went through some basic orientation pieces. And then in the end did actually review this list briefly, with the group so that kind of had an understanding of what you would be talking about this evening. So this is really time to discuss, have council really discuss and prioritize this proposed list of public art projects to assist that board in what their work plan, developing a work plan, which will probably be likely at our next meeting in September, is talking about work plans and really even giving an idea, not just for maybe the next fiscal 8 months, but really this kind of planning can and probably should be, 3 to 5 years out. So there's things that we're working towards and that they all move together. So on that, we did a survey with council and asked a few questions, and I just want to go through this list really briefly. Priority 1 and 2, updating the art inventory, maintenance plans and policies, and then the Highway 20 at Locust Street roundabout, both scored identically in that top group. And then items 9, 10, 11, and 12. I did not put together a statistically valid survey, which are always difficult in the kind that we do. But 9, 10, 11, and 12 were the items that people wrote in that they were interested in doing. And the reason they're ranked as this is because the person that wrote in vision for all 4 roundabouts ranked that fairly high in their choices. So that's why they actually have a ranking as well. So I really want to just kind of push it out to the council for discussion is what projects should the art board prioritize? And are there projects that you believe should receive higher or lower priority than here? And are there additional opportunities that should be considered? So.
I think when I did the survey and saw the demonstration garden in there, yeah, I was a little puzzled because I think we were looking at that as part of our wildfire preparedness mitigation demonstration garden. And I guess it's art, but I didn't see it as one of the art projects that was in the back of my mind. So I was a little puzzled as to why it was in this. So I may not have rated it as high as I might have if I was aware it was going to be there. So I don't have a problem with the list. I just am a little concerned that I don't want to push that demonstration garden any further out than we already have.
So I can clarify on that. The landscaping, the demonstration garden will happen.
Okay.
What might evolve into that would be pieces of art.
Okay.
So that can be 2 separate pieces for sure.
That's a great clarification.
They probably be fairly easy to install art there as we see what that looks like and grows.
Were there locations in the design for art
I
right now?
don't believe there are, Jackson. No, I don't believe there are. Yeah.
But there's enough open space to kind of add it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification as well.
I guess the first question is, are people happy with the ranking? The order? Or does anybody feel like we need to move some things around? I mean, I'm glad, I think number 1's great. I think that's a very highly logical and important task to take on.
And just so you know, the estimated time, those really, I was popping those out of my head of what I might think. So we have maintenance plans generally in place. We have policies in place. So it would really be policies particularly would be a review. The council in 2020 approved those procedures and policies for public art. So they're not severely dated at this point. And we have used them for art. We used it for the bench at Cliff Clemens that we referenced and to see what we do. So I say 2 to 3 months, and I mean that in the case of perhaps 2 to 3 meetings for the art board to look at that time frame. But some other things could also roll with that project potentially.
Are they meeting once a month or once every other month?
We're doing once a month right now. They're actually scheduled at quarterly, but I think we talked about it yesterday that until kind of up and running and things are going, and there may be times of the year that they don't need to meet except quarterly, and then we might be doing some kind of process and they need to meet every month again.
When I look at the one on one of the others, which was the public music comment down below, that was third one, policy support around public music, one designate places for musicians to play, etc. I was at the SBA meeting last week, I think it was, and a couple of folks said they would like to see, the businesses said, maybe some way that we could allow busking in parts of the community, that would bring more people to the downtown core. Just walking around, it adds the ambience. You see a lot of cities do that. I hadn't really thought much about it until I heard one of our business owners say something about it. And another one said, yeah, that's something that is missing. Now, how would you go about that and how we do it, those are all different kinds of things. Our right of ways are not necessarily real wide, which creates issues, but there may be some way to allow that to be permitted either for a business or for a location. So as we look at that number, the comment, which was like a 1.2, because it was, as you say, it was a write-in. And then we did look down at the other ideas at the bottom, public policy, like music and Explore Sisters and SFF, to think about something like that. I think it may be beneficial for us to look at that. We have a lot of venues that do informal music at this point in time, but maybe there's some opportunities to do some street music as well during the day. Because that all tends to be in the evening. I listen to it in my backyard most nights.
I'd like to follow that up with, I've had that conversation with people in the community about busking, although I couldn't remember the name. So thanks for bringing that up. That's the official term. And what I like about that, number 11, and what you just mentioned is that that's tangible change without hardly any cost. It's more of a policy and the rules around it and making sure we reach out and find out what areas are best served by that and all that stuff, but there's no other thing to do other than create some policy and allow it to happen. So, and I hadn't thought about it till you just mentioned it, so thank you. And if we could move that up the list, or if that's one of those things we just know if they have a couple of months where there's nothing going on, that'd be an easy one to, easy relative, I guess, to other things, to take on and maybe add as a, you know, a piece that can go faster than it looks like on this list. So thank you, Gary.
Yeah, that's one that I added, and I know I've brought up a few times over the last few years, with some community members and staff, and I think staff is like, there's really nothing in place to stop anybody from doing that, which is, you know, which is fine. So it's like, there's two ways to handle it. One is just get that messaging out of people, oh, you go do it if you want, you know, but then there's the, how long will it take until there's some sort of conflict? Or why are you in front of my store? Or go, you know, or why aren't you in front of my store? Or, so I'm just, I don't know, that's something, just a top tier question, or a high elevation question, the art board could just ask of like, is it worth just, well, let's just promote it and see what happens, and then we'll fix it if we start having issues, or should we really try to be mindful of it first? Talk to a few other cities and see what their policy is and just come up with a policy first. So, I mean, I'm kind of fine either way on it. I just feel like, yeah, I've just heard it from a lot of people, and I think we're a town known for our music, but it's really quiet here a lot of the year, so.
I think that, you know, when we talk about the art committee, you know, to go out and poll businesses to find out if there are any that would either object or would wish to have somebody around the area of their store busking to help bring customers in. That helps answer one question. And then if we identify that there are some that really are not interested at all and would be very unhappy about it, we just make sure that we have designated busking zones, whatever you want to call them, around the city. As I think it's what other places do. We don't really have a town square in the middle of town. We have the park, but during the week they'd be getting wet. So it seems that that would be one of the questions I personally would want to have asked is, businesses have said they'd like to see this. Okay. How many of you are there? Where are you located? And talk to your membership and the others to see if anybody really would prefer not to have that. Some people won't. And then I don't know if it's a permit, but maybe it's a map of acceptable busking locations that's given out, or somehow like that. Keep it as low level for our staff as possible.
So can I ask a question of what priority level is that for you? Is that the first thing you'd like them to work on? Is it 10th thing? Is there somewhere in between on that?
4.5. I don't know.
It would be really great to get a very kind of a clear, at least 1, 2, 3. In case one thing goes quickly, we can move to the next, and then if there's anything that nobody objects to on the list, then we can always keep moving, and busking might be one of those things that honestly I could probably look into on the side outside of that piece if there's that interest. So I think that the question for this would really be, what are those bigger, knowing we have a certain dollar amount in the budget this year, that really is for all intents until 2030. The money exists or doesn't exist, depending on the council that we have. And how do we use that if council would like to, and in what ways?
Yeah, so, I'm the one that commented on the URA dollars. And mostly, I mean, we do have a deadline on that and currently have it budgeted, and I would like to figure out what we're doing. I mean, like, that money, you know, we had a long process that ended without art at one point, in the roundabout. And maybe you know, we've got 3, 4, items on this, maybe that, I'm just throwing out suggestions here. Maybe we say, our committee, what would you think is the best URA project to do to figure out what to do with the money? I feel like that needs to fit in high enough so it's going to finish by 2030. I mean, I would like to solve that earlier, like where that money is going, because I think that dollar amount's been floating around the community a long time. But you know, I'm not gonna, I want to give them some flexibility, or, you know, some decision-making ability. Any other thoughts on that?
Well, if we talk about URA money, then I see Highway 20 and Locust Street roundabout as a qualifier, Adams Avenue art, City Hall demonstration garden, and Gateway Park is in URA, right?
And potentially a rotating art program, because would most likely be within the
Okay,
URA
okay.
program. Be some expense for pedestals.
So like the City Hall demonstration garden may push us out beyond the URA expiration. I don't know our timeline on that. So I mean, I see your point. We try to get something that's gonna work within the URA budget timeline.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna add one more thing. I
Sure.
think it would be nice for the group, after meeting with them, that if we were to have them working on current policy and art inventory, and it's kind of a good introduction. It's a good start. What do we actually have right now? I like that, but not just make them having to work on policy. Right, these are very creative people. So let's give them a carrot too, which is something really fun. One of these art, actual making decisions around an art piece, or one of these other ones in conjunction.
My comment would be is we've done a survey and we've already ranked these. And I think that this is a fairly good representation of what we're all thinking. So, you know, I like the 1, 2, and 3, or the 1, 1, and 3. 2 of them are URA, and they're the biggest, I would say, the biggest pieces of URA monies for art, as far as probably amounts, I would say, and probably a time. I don't think that a committee like this could probably tackle the Highway 20 roundabout art and the Adams Avenue art at the same time. So I think they're not simultaneous, or probably one after the other. And the inventory obviously would be concurrent with one of those two, depending on the rankings or whatever. I'm pretty comfortable with what we've already come up with, other than the whole busking thing is really, to me, kind of romantic and very sisters-like. I'd love to get that thing a little higher up the list.
Busking would be something that the council works on independently. Mine, like Carrie said, we could probably have some.
And that's,
I think there's more of the formal program that you have to think about with busking if we want to encourage it, because I think free speech protections probably allow people to set up as long as they're not obstructing a sidewalk or it's, yeah, and noise, right? It's not amplified, but if they want to do amplification, maybe there's a permit for that or whatever. But I appreciate that it's music related, which is art, but you know, I think it's probably higher
Jordan, are there,
for this committee.
or Carrie, are there any rules around people taking money? Like, does that require some policy around that? I mean, I'm not,
And handling.
yeah, I'm just trying, I'm just, okay, I just wanted. Just that.
I think that makes a good point as far as something maybe council focuses on that one. And then we could send it to the advisory board to take a look after we've put that together and just get their input on it, final draft or something. What would, going back to Councilor Preden's idea about the roundabout art and the Adams Avenue art, those two being URA, are you comfortable with the advisory board selecting one of those two?
Kind of not, and the reason I say that is because, we're the council. I think we should be giving them some direction. And, I think public opinion may favor taking care of the roundabout art first. And it also was ranked higher in our priorities as well. I could be wrong on that. But, even if it was, if for some reason you guys wanted Adams Avenue art before the roundabout art, I think they would both be able to be taken care of before the end of the URA 2030 or whatever. So I'm pretty comfortable with that, but I think there's a lot of people that are looking for answers on the roundabout art, and there should be some work done on that. To what extent, I'm not 100% sure, and I'd like the committee to weigh in on that as well and see what they think. For sure.
A follow-up question for direction, just thinking about the future of the committee and as things get rolling, right? We have a rotating art, program. We have, an art walk at the Gateway Park. We have art multiple places on Adams Avenue. In your mind, is the council involved with the decision for the acquisition of any art? Or does that policy change to have something like the Public Art Committee? Do you have confidence that they're going to be able to make a selection within your policies for thinking, in the future when we have a lot more art being installed in public places?
You're gonna get 5 answers.
I would say that looking at our other advisory committees who tend to bring a decision sometimes back to the council, but let's take the Urban Forestry Board. Urban Forestry Board doesn't bring every tree that needs to be removed to the council. We depend on the expertise there to make those decisions. I think with a revolving art program, I think we're really looking to artistic pieces that are locally produced or regionally produced anyway, and they're going in for a period of time and they can sale, they can go out. That almost strikes me as being, again, the purvey of this particular group. And we would only step in if something was of controversial in nature and we had a complaint or something like that. And we're always gonna have complaints. Art's art, that's opinions. I think when I look at the rankings here, some of these are just going to be long-term because of what they are. The roundabout art, that's going to be a process. Other things that are on this list can happen while that process is occurring. Not to overwhelm the committee, but there'll be periods of time when things are out for proposals or whatever that we could look at mural guidelines, or we could look at the demonstration garden or a public walking. The map almost needs to wait. I guess we could do one now. We have some, but until we have more public art, I don't know. Those are all hard questions, but I really don't want us to micromanage this. But when it's the big ticket items, the roundabout, for example, that's our heat to take, and that's our sword to fall on or to pick up when the time comes.
One of the questions that came up at the committee yesterday was kind of the funding piece. And the reality is we're funded at 175,000 for projects within the URA. And from the process that happened, the two processes, that 175,000 is probably just about what it would cost to do a project in the roundabout, right? So if roundabout art is something that you are looking for them to look at, it would likely eat that money. And so we would have to think about other ways to fund Adams Avenue, any of the next few things. Some of the things like mural, obviously that's staff time and that works. But some of those other things would have to be funded in different ways. So thinking about that throughout the course of, budget. And this is why it would be really great to kind of have a little longer term view on what projects to look at because of budgeting. So we'll be looking at budgeting starting in January, February next year, and looking for another year out. So what are the next 2 projects and what would that look like? Also grant funding. So knowing that those will be things that we will have to look into and potentially apply for, I think is important as well. So I think we can fund more art through different ways, but I think that big ticket piece, if that's the direction council would go, will probably take all of that funding.
So
No,
is, go ahead.
I agree. I, I would not want to go at it if we're looking for art for the roundabout with less money. Maybe I'm a oddball out, but I'm also open to the welcome sign there, which has kind of been talked about chitter chatter, not in meetings, but you know, it's just been thrown around as we had brought up our sign project. So that's just something, that's a piece of information from Sarah only. But I wouldn't want to hamstring them by giving them any less money for the roundabout than $175,000. And if they spent less on a welcome sign, I'm not saying they should, just if they did, we'd figure out what to do with that money later. It came up at number 1. I agree that it's pretty bland out there. And now that it's kind of done, because it, you know, we had a lot of iterations of things. We might get more plantings in there, we might not. And I'm not complaining about what it looks like. I'm just speaking my own truth that it feels a little bland. And so, yeah, I'd like to see it resolved sooner than later. But I would like to give as much leeway to the committee as we can. I did not want to start this committee in order to micromanage them. Yeah, so barring like them coming up with something offensive, which I don't expect they would. I'm not saying that, but I don't feel like I need to approve what goes on there. That's me.
I had a clarifying question. Is there anything up there or anything that's not up there that would be good to do early on in the process so that we are prepared that when there is a grant opportunity that we're ready to go?
I think there are a couple of things that, in some of the park art, potentially even Adams Avenue. I think we have budgeted in years past to do pedestals. We never have built pedestals. They always came out of our parks budget or some different things. I think there's ways to fund some of that stuff, starting points, and then potentially grant fund for what goes on those. At this point, I have not looked into our grant funding until we kind of get our feet underneath us as the board and start researching more of those pieces. So.
And one other thing, long term, I think that this should become, like, I would like to hand this off to a private group at some point. Other cities have that going on in Central Oregon. And I like the way they work. So that's my opinion.
Are
That's
you referring to like Bend having a nonprofit handle all their art?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just doing a time check because we're almost at 6:30. So just wanted to throw that out there and go ahead.
Just a quick comment, as we've had some off-topic discussions too about potentially moving a certain piece of art that gets hit by cars fairly often into the middle of the roundabout and looking for a replacement piece of art to go there. And should that occur, then that makes that 175,000 piece maybe go a little further elsewhere in the town because the scale of what we might put where the current statue is might be smaller or something like that. And certainly it is sized appropriately for there. And the cost of installing it there would be significantly less than a commissioned piece. That doesn't mean I'm not interested in a commissioned piece, but that is an option too that should be presented to this group as they're looking at it to potentially provide an opportunity to do some other things and to remove that wonderful piece of art where it has been. We put rocks in front of it this time. I still don't know. They might just launch a car higher. The last time we were lucky to be able to save it.
So I have kind of formulated in my head as this discussion has gone on an option to kind of move forward with the group. I'm hearing that you're not, that you like the list as it is, and that to move some things up the list as time allows, things like the mural code and things that are less hard money oriented, which I think is doable dependent upon time. The roundabout piece, one of the pieces that can go to the board would be, last August, almost to the day, I brought you guys a list of roundabout options of how to maybe relook at roundabout art. It would be really interesting to refine that list, add things like a movement, add things like a welcome sign, and bring that to the board and have them discuss and potentially say, this is actually how we would like to move forward. And maybe it will be exactly how we did prior with calls, and maybe it will be something different. And then bring that back to you to make sure you're comfortable with the way that project moves forward. Because I think I'd like to be kind of hand in hand with the council if that's the project that we're working on. So there are no real surprises at the end. If you're comfortable with one, the art inventory, that piece, I think is an easy kind of move through process. A lot of it's already built and just needs to kind of get updated. Obviously, the more people interested in that roundabout as you're all speaking to. And Adams Avenue is that third piece, is really something I think would be more likely to, depending upon how much that URA dollars are left, potentially budget it into the next year and really see how Adams falls out and see where it maybe looks like pedestals would work as once it's built out and we get a look at it and we're using it for 6 months. Might be a better way to think about Adams on those top 3 projects.
With landscaping.
Landscaping, growing and moving and those types of pieces. So I don't know if you're comfortable with that as a process or if there's anything you'd like to add or.
That sounds pretty reasonable, I think.
Those to me.
Can I, maybe we need an art endowment, or if I use that word too much time.
I just want to say that the one at the very bottom there, that I didn't really catch it until this evening, but the artistic elements and infrastructure, I think that's, I don't know who added that, but that's really great, and I think.
It was made,
Oh, great, well, I think it
deserves to
deserves.
see what you're gonna say.
Very good. I think it also deserves to be kind of bumped up, but I mean, it also could blend into something else.
Yeah.
But I think that, right, as we we redo bridges or other things and, having a
Piece of art.
for that. I mean, we have our sign, graphics, right? Or do we want to put that into other things? So I think that was a great addition as well. But hopefully that can maybe get squeezed in
I think
somewhere.
that these pieces can kind of maneuver and that we know there's the list and the things that you're interested in. Yeah, as things appropriate. And I look at the Creekside Bridge for that, right? When they redid that and the crew was able to weld in some really fun pieces. That's the art people don't notice, but is kind of that mystery small art in town.
Yeah.
And even the design of the handrails sort of be
All right.
carved pieces of wood.
Yeah, and I think it'd be important, and especially, considering we're coming up on next year already in election year, to check in at goal time with the new council and some of this will be prioritized, maybe just a little bit differently. But I really like the idea of giving them as much room as they want on the council, on the committee, so they can do their thing. I mean, I don't think we've recruited them to not only do half of a job or 3/4 of a job. We want them to do as much as they feel comfortable doing, with the caveat that we're in the final control, I guess. I don't know. I don't think we have to make every decision, but I think it'd be great for them to be able to plug in and go.
And you're on that. Yes. You're the liaison to that committee, so
Yeah,
you always have a liaison at least.
I trust her, but
Yeah.
I'll have to, no, I'm kidding.
It's a good group and they do have ideas.
Great.
Okay.
They asked about, well, what if we have an idea that's not on that list?
Yeah.
Bring it up. Yeah.
Say it. So
Yeah.
we don't want to stop a creative mind, that's for sure.
We need.
Sure you told them. I'm sure you told them, yeah, bring it, right?
But this was their guy, we have to start them somewhere. Gotta give them some direction and this was great. Harry, thank you for
We're
doing
not sure it's supposed to look like a funnel, though. That's okay.
Just want to do something different.
It's like a tornado. Art tornado.
Artistic.
Okay, you got everything?
I did, thank you for.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'll adjourn the workshop, and we will begin the regular council meeting at 6:45.
How's your charge? I have a plug tonight. You need it.
Three, two, one.
Our clock's a little off, isn't it?
Isn't
Call to order, August 26, 2026, Sister City Council regular meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Letts,
Here.
Council President McDougal,
Here.
Councilor Frieden,
Aye.
Councilor Ross,
Present.
Councilor Pellerin.
Here. Thank you. Do I have an approval of the agenda for the evening?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No nays, and the motion passes. Visitor communication. We have visitor communication today.
We have Toby Weiss.
I'm right up here, and I keep forgetting to tell people that, trying to remember this new microphone system. But, the sage item up there is the microphone, and it's very sensitive and picks up everything, so.
Including the back of the room.
Yes, so be careful with side conversation.
Lifesavers then.
And then, welcome, and usually people have about 3 minutes, and we just like you to state your name and if you live within or outside the city.
Hi, Toby Weiss. I live in White's Canyon Estates, out there where Wilt and Buffalo split. And thank you very much for your time, Mayor and councilors. Look, wildfire risk is not about the hundreds of fires that are started. It's about the handful that we can't contain and control. A few weeks ago, I shared a proposal calling for a more coordinated, resilient strategy north of Sisters Country. In the next few minutes, I just want to talk about what the data that I'm looking at is telling me. I did a preliminary review about 25 years of all the starts north of us. And I believe the next step is to have agencies validate and deepen this, like the Forest Service. I found 283 recorded ignitions. And the good news is 80% of those were stopped. And that's by firefighters and land management agencies getting them when they're small. Of those 283, 21 grew beyond 100 acres. And it's only 8%, but those few fires drove most of our risk, right? So I believe we need to pay particular attention to this landscape north of us now more than ever. Grandview came from that direction. Flat Fire came from that direction. And of course, we all know Akawa Butte recently. So 3 consequential fires within 6 fire seasons. And they've shown us something encouraging, however, right? And that is that landscape can be changed. It can be managed. Fuel treatments reduce intensity. This is written up many times through the Flat Fire and, of course, the Akawa Butte Fire. Defensible space can improve the odds for many homes. That too was demonstrated in several videos and write-ups. Previous fire scars can interrupt or redirect the fires. And those changes give firefighters a chance. They give them more time, right? So I'm not here asking for the city or the groups that you bring together regularly to, strategically think about fires and protecting the city. I'm not asking you to manage Forest Service land, help BLM do what they need to do. I'd like the city within organizations that you already have to think about creating something that may not yet exist. And that's a shared picture of wildfire activity north of Sisters Country. Right, there's been a lot of focus in other areas. And I'd love to see one GIS map with 25 years of history, existing fuel treatments, burn scars, evacuation routes, critical infrastructure. And if we look at all of these investments as one wildfire defense system, we're not looking at them as separate individual projects. And I think that map could do a lot for us. Then we ask ourselves a simple question, right? What are the remaining gaps? What do we do to prevent the next consequential fire from coming down to us? And once we know this, we can prioritize action against all of these and seek assistance, federal, state funding, et cetera. So we spend millions of dollars, right, treating forests and fighting wildfire. Our opportunity now is to make sure that we connect these individual investments into a system. And I think especially north of us is important. For inspiration, Napa County has built a great model. So I think Ian Reed is aware of this as well. So we have a great way to kind of look at how we improve our current approach north of us. So the fires have told us where to look. We know the last three of them, they've come down. And the question is, are we going to be able to connect all of this information and then stop the next one? So I asked for some focus north of us. Thank you very much. Well done.
Good job. I know Toby, by the way, so. Friend of mine.
Anyone else?
That is it for in person. If anyone online on Zoom would like to join in visitor communication, please raise your hand now.
Not you, Matt.
There are none.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move into a presentation from Wes Davis from Republic Services. Up to the table and
Hi there, good evening. Thanks for having me, Mayor, councilors. I just wanted to stop by. I don't have any fancy slides today, but I am your new general manager for Public Services in Central Oregon, which means I work for you guys. I work for you, I work for the staff, I work for all the people of Sisters to provide an essential service. So I thought it was important I come by, show my face so that we can get to know each other a little bit and I can understand what's going on. You know, you only get to be new once. So I want to take full advantage of that and hear any feedback that you might have for me. I've already talked to Mr. Wheeler and we'll plan to continue to do that and continue to ask for more feedback from the people of Sisters too. I was a general manager with Republic Services up in Coeur d'Alene most recently. I've been with Republic for 5 years. Before that, I was in the Army. What I've noticed in my time is that you learn a lot when you actually go see where the rubber meets the road. So standing offer for anybody that is ever interested to do a ride along in one of the garbage trucks, see what happens. It's maybe more fun than it sounds, but I won't overpromise on that. And I want to make sure that you guys always have access to me. I want to listen to your feedback and be responsive. So I will stand for any questions, comments you guys have for me right now, but this is not the only opportunity. I'll certainly come back for additional council meetings and you'll see me in the community. I plan to be here for many, many years.
all right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. And yeah, does anybody have any questions?
I'd love to know, if it's okay, where you live and what community are you residing in?
Right now I live in Bend. My job is to cover everything from Klamath County up to Prineville, Redmond, Bend. So I position myself centrally for that reason. But fortunately, you guys aren't too far away. In fact, I'm going to meet my fiance after this and have a dinner here, go on a date night. So
I'd love to do coffee with you so we don't use all of the time.
perfect. Let's do it.
All right.
Does he have a contact?
I do. I can give you guys my cards or Jordan has
Yeah,
them.
Thanks, Jordan.
I was gonna ask the same question, but I didn't want to put it out on the internet as much as, just so we know how to get hold of you. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
And, and I will say this, that, I'm gonna take you at your word, and, I've probably been the hardest on your predecessor.
I'm sure he's been warned.
The pictures on the board.
Watch out.
And I'd love to have a good working relationship, and it's not that we didn't, but, the only thing I would say, when you come to us with facts and figures and documents, make sure they're accurate.
I think that's only fair, sir.
Nothing makes me, I'm less happy than less than accurate documents.
Well, fully documented, I think it would be.
Fully documented might be a better word, yeah. Nothing was false, it's just it wasn't well explained. And when we're asked to commit public money, it's really important we have all the information in order to do that.
That's only fair, sir.
I'm the other big detractor, by the way, but not anything personal at all. And your predecessor was very pleasant. It was in the details more than it was in the big steps.
That's useful for me to know. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for coming.
More to
Well,
come.
welcome.
Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to come up and meet us.
Thank you. Of course, anytime.
I'd only want to ride in one of the electric ones just because they fascinate me.
Yeah.
They work.
I recommend it. They're very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for your service, Wes.
Of course.
That too.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve that.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays. This week's consent agenda, just had our minutes from the August 12th workshop, August 12th regular meeting, and abatement, Seidel, Minor, Blumgren, Chellis, and Graham, PC Professional Services Agreement. So we have an agreement with everybody. So moving on from that, thank you. All right, first item of council business tonight is discussion and consideration of resolution 2026-15. A resolution modifying the Greater Redmond Area Enterprise Zone Agreement to increase the extended abatement to 10 years. Eric Strobel from Economic Development for Central Oregon, Mr. Rep, will walk us through this. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, city manager, city recorder. You stole my thunder right there. That was my intro.
Okay. Go ahead. Again, I'm sure you do.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so Eric Strobel, Sisters Director for Economic Development for Central Oregon. I am presenting Resolution 2026-15, modifying the Greater Redmond Area Enterprise Zone Agreement to increase the extended abatement to 10 years. This modification is due to the passing of HB 4084 in the recent legislative session. That includes a significant overhaul of Oregon's Enterprise Zone program. 4084 keeps the 3-year standard exemption as is, but modernizes the extended abatement program and adds a new option allowing exemptions of up to 10 years for qualifying projects. Those all the requirements for extended abatement agreements would still be required for extended abatement periods of 10 years. And that includes written agreements between the zone sponsor and the company. Sisters is a zone sponsor. Wage requirements, and also the school support fee, which is new. The project must provide substantial capital investment, regional economic impact, or alignment with local development goals. And that you would be deciding if they meet those qualifications. All of the extended enterprise zone agreements have to be approved by council on a case-by-case basis. Bend has passed this resolution. Our partner zone sponsor, City of Redmond, has passed it. And then if passes tonight, we will take it to the county, which is our other zone sponsor partner. So, and just so you know, we have not had an extended abatement here.
At all.
At all.
You mentioned schools were now, something down schools that's new, is that they're relieved of the abatement?
It's between 15 and 30% of the property tax that the company would pay towards the school.
Okay,
They pay it to the school in lieu of. Yeah,
thank you.
most of those are coming out at 15%.
Thanks. It's helpful.
So first question is more like to clarify for public. Like, this is basically, we're not agreeing to any abatements tonight. We're agreeing to the possibility of one in the future.
Correct.
And that would have to be reached by the council.
Correct. The 3-year abatement does not have to be approved by council.
That's my next question.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
But we, of course, talk about it. I mean,
Okay,
I wouldn't go into one of those without you knowing about it.
and then have there been 3-year abatements here? Then
Yes. Yeah.
many, or just
What did I send to you? I'm trying to count.
need to?
No, there's probably 6.
6, yeah.
Yes.
I asked the same question.
Yeah. 6, and Sisters Coffee was the most recent. They just finished for their roastery. And they had a 3-year abatement there. Hopefully if they expand, they'll do it again.
Appreciate the example. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And we have some companies that don't want to do it. Unbelievably so, because it's a pretty easy process because I do most of the work. And there's just some owners that don't really want to do the red tape or go through that process. So be it. And it's really,
Definitely a pride factor sometimes involved,
Sometimes.
right?
yeah.
I did it on my own.
And it's really we only have 2 incentives, that enterprise zone being one, and then the Deschutes County Forgivable Loan Fund. So that's really our toolbox, which is not much. So.
You're the other tool in the box. And I don't mean that in any funny way. Your role, your role is super important. I'm being serious here. I'm not.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So because we're kind of partnered up with Redmond, we do see theirs come through sometimes. Well, I mean, I remember like
Right.
Nosler within the last few years or.
They did an extended abatement.
Yeah.
We're working on trying to decouple that because it's kind of silly for sisters to have to go through the process and do this for Redmond. So I think what we're trying to do is have Redmond, if they have an extended abatement, they decide sisters does not need to be a part of that, and vice versa.
The Redmond extended abatement would have no impact on us one way or the other.
Right.
What's holding us back from that? What is it, the HB? Or is that just a overall enterprise zone
Change.
change?
The overall enterprise zone change. Business Oregon's trying to modernize their incentives, and the enterprise zone is one of the most complicated and hard to understand for everyone concerned. So this is their first stab at it, and at least they're trying to do that.
That require an ORS modification.
Right. Yep.
Problem.
Yeah, there's your problem. Yeah.
That's what I was getting at.
Not easy, for sure.
House Bill 4084, I'm assuming this was created, to make us, obviously, Oregon more competitive. We're struggling that with businesses. Is this putting us on par with other states, or was there kind of a metric used to kind of come with that number, or is this just?
We're getting there.
Okay.
I mean, the South really knows how to do it. They know how to do incentives. And so, Texas, South Carolina, they're way ahead of anything we've done. Not that we want to go that direction. Might be a little bit too much on one side, but yeah, we're trying to bet. That's what this whole modernization is about. And trying to make it easier for businesses. Because, some of those business owners think it's an onerous process and they don't want to go through the red tape. And so the easier we can make it for everybody, the reporting, all of it, we'll have more companies utilizing the incentive.
What questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution 2026-15.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hey,
No nays. It passes.
Thank you.
You, Eric?
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the support.
Let's go, Widco.
Next up, we have a public hearing and consideration, resolution 2026-16. Strap in, everybody. Got a lot of reading to do here. Good time for bathroom break. A resolution of the City of Sisters recommending approval of amendments to Title 21 of the Deschutes County Code. Reference applicable Title 18 zoning designations with Sisters unincorporated growth area. So I'm gonna start my script here, Matt, and then we will get the staff report. All right, guidelines. This is a hybrid meeting. Attendees may participate in person or via Zoom. If you get disconnected from the meeting, use the same link to enter the meeting. Every time you speak, please identify yourself by your name and address or location. During discussion, the mayor will call on city councilors, so there's a minimum of talking. If you have no comments, say none when your name is called. All votes will be by roll call. This is a time set for a public hearing on county file number 247-26-000459-TA. An application for text amendments to Title 21 of the Deschutes County Code to reference applicable Title 18 zoning designations within the Sisters unincorporated growth area submitted by the City of Sisters. This meeting is now called to order. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. Staff will make a presentation, entry of additional correspondence received into the record, opening the public hearing for testimony in the following order. Testimony in support of the proposal, testimony in opposition to the proposal, and neutral testimony. Applicant opportunity for rebuttal, questions of staff, if any, by council, closed public testimony portion of hearing, discussion, and recommendation by council. Testimony will be accepted in person and remotely via Zoom. For those attending in person, please provide your testimony after you are called. For those attending Come on up.
Go ahead, big one.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Sorry about that technical difficulty, but I think that we got that figured out. So we will move on to the staff report from Matt Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, good evening, councilors. I'm Matthew Martin, Principal Planner, City of Sisters. I'm here representing staff on behalf of Scott Woodford, City's Community Development Director, who wasn't able to join us tonight. Also want to note that Matt Hasty with MIG Consulting, the consultant on the overall urban growth boundary project and associated amendments, is joining us via Zoom and available for comment and questions in support of staff. As introduced by the mayor, what's before you tonight are a package of amendments to Deschutes County Title 21. Title 21 applies to the Sisters Urban zoning ordinance that is subject to lands that are outside of the city limits, but under county jurisdiction. My staff report tonight is in support of the staff report presented in the application materials, or excuse me, the meeting materials prior to tonight's meeting. Again, what's before you, file number 424726000459 TA. City's the applicant on the project. These are amendments to Title 21 to add reference to zoning designations in Title 18 of Deschutes County Code. That's a primary zoning ordinance for Deschutes County. I'll explain the details and the relationship of adding that reference to Title 18 to Title 21 as we move forward. Through the Urban Growth Boundary Amendment Project and an evaluation of the current and current standards within Title 21 and the current zoning applicable to the properties that are under consideration for inclusion of the urban growth boundary. In conversations with city staff, Deschutes County staff identified some gaps within the Title 21 standards that warranted amendment through our process to provide appropriate protections of Oregon State Land Use Goal 5 natural resource protections, as well as providing an opportunity for those property owners, if interested, to retain their current county zoning while they're within the urban growth boundary, but not yet annexed into the city limits. So to resolve that, we brought this package of amendments to Title 21, but also some others to Deschutes County Code to provide that connection and resolve those gaps. The reason why these amendments to Deschutes County Code are coming before City Council is through a joint management agreement that the City Sisters and Deschutes County entered into, which delegates responsibility for review of amendments and land use projects that are subject to that or within that area of the urban growth boundary not yet annexed. It's the review responsibility and processing of the City of Sisters. So that's why County Code's coming before you here tonight. I do want to note that as discussed at your prior workshop, this is only one of several amendments to Deschutes County Code in their comprehensive plan to address these similar and same issues with the Goal 5 natural resource protections, as well as recognizing and providing that opportunity to retain that existing zoning. But I want to emphasize that all that's before you tonight for consideration are the amendments to Title 21. I'll pause. Matt Hasty, do you have any comments on the overall package?
I do not. Yeah, I will just note that, and I'm sure you heard this at your workshop, that there was extensive coordination and discussion with county staff about this to come to a recommendation about how to proceed. So we've been working closely with them on this. So that's all I have to add at the moment. Happy to answer questions at any point if you'd like.
As for the specific amendments that are before you, they're highlighted on the slide with those being removed, identified as strike through, and those that are being added.
identified and underlined. This is where we've added the rural residential, multiple use agricultural primary zone designations to be included in the Title 21 zoning designations, as well as some combining zones or overlay zones that provide those additional protections for properties that are in proximity to the airport, identified wildlife habitats, and designated view corridors through the landscape management combining zone. And then the additional inclusion of section 2108.015, recognizing the opportunity for lands that are incorporated into the urban growth boundary to retain that existing zoning for their properties prior to that annexation. Noting that with the asterisks, we're incorporating the zoning by reference. So we're including them on these lists here, but pointing you back to Title 18, where the primary zone and the allowed uses, the development standards reside. What brings this to you before you is that joint management agreement, which identifies the procedures. So our responsibility is to process and provide the initial review and recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. First, we stop at the City Planning Commission, where they conduct a public hearing, review the amendments, and provide that recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. That public hearing was held earlier this month on August 6th. And then following that recommendation, the responsibility of City Council is to review and comment on the Planning Commission's recommendation. We've interpreted that review and comment to be conducted through this public hearing process, provide that opportunity for additional public input and that opportunity for council to review and provide that comment. And typical for amendments that are brought forward for amendments to the city code, those are adopted through ordinance. But because this is not amendment to city code, we chose the appropriate mechanism for that review and comment was through a resolution before you. And the recommendation of the city will be forwarded on to the Board of County Commissioners for their consideration in a final decision on an ordinance amending their codes. That schedule has yet to be determined. As noted, Planning Commission heard the amendments earlier this month on August 6th, and after review, recommended approval as drafted by a unanimous 5-0 vote. So what's before the council tonight is that resolution 2026-16, consideration of review and comment on that Planning Commission's unanimous recommendation of approval. So I'm available, as well as Matt Hasty, for comments or questions.
All right, so first of all, we will move on to see if we have any correspondence.
Have
we received any on this matter or other than those items included in the agenda materials?
City has not received any additional correspondence associated with these specific amendments.
Okay. All right, at this time, do any counselors have any questions for staff?
I don't.
Okay. I don't either. All right. Okay, so public testimony. We'll now invite members of the audience to provide testimony. Your name is called. Please come forward and state your name for the record before proceeding with your testimony. For those attending via Zoom, we will conduct a roll call to see who wants to provide testimony. At the conclusion of testimony, by those attending in person, do we have any unregistered comment?
I would appreciate no us in person to comment.
Okay.
If anyone on Zoom would like to participate in the public testimony, please raise your hand now. There are none.
Okay. Go ahead a little bit, but yeah, just one more check if anybody wants to comment on this solution. I'll speak.
I'd like to
Talking about us?
No, the public.
Excuse me.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Well, okay, all right, now I can move on. Does any member of the council have any further questions of staff or clarification, anything like that?
Nope, I have, I'm down to the deliberations part. That's what I'm waiting for. Sorry. I'm gonna make a comment then, but not now.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Not a lot has changed in the last 90 seconds, so. Okay, if there are no further questions, I will close the public testimony portion of this hearing. The public testimony portion of the hearing is now closed. And we've now closed the hearing and must deliberate towards a recommendation. Our options are to recommend: 1, approval of the amendments as proposed; 2, approval of the amendments with changes; or 3, denial of the amendments. Your name is called. Please provide your thoughts on the proposed amendments and what recommendation you are inclined to make. I will continue going through the order until there are no further deliberations or until a motion is made. So you will have the opportunity to respond and or adjust your thoughts based on the testimony of your fellow councilors. I will start with Councilor Preden since you're very excited.
Well, surprising considering how complicated this is and how important some of this stuff is in this process. I was very surprised over the last 2 weeks. I only talked to one person that even wanted to talk about it. And it wasn't about details. It was more of a bigger scope, bigger picture. How does this fit in kind of question? And that kind of surprised me because I kind of thought this might create some more noise or some more questions. And I want to say that's because we're doing a good job getting the word out, I hope. I can't say for sure. But besides that, I think I'm inclined to just vote it for what it is and approve it as it is right now.
I'm also inclined to approve as is. With a,
Councilor Ross?
Yeah, I think that when I looked this through, it's a lot of cleaning up, redesignation to make the zoning types fit where we want to have them and, bring them into compliance with our language as opposed to what the county had, as well as a number of other sort of cleanup things. It makes total sense to me. So I have no objections.
And I also have no questions and find it to be ready for approval from me.
Okay. And I'm also inclined to approve it. I did have one. I guess that was a staff question. It may be a PDF problem in the regards that when we were shown the zoning graph or table twice in our documents, and the first one had like this strike through and the underlines for the changes. The second time we saw it in exhibit B, there are no strike throughs, but there are the underlying sections. So yours seems to be the same as well. Yeah, I just want to make sure that there was kind of two different ones presented, and I feel like it's just a Scrivener's error, a graphics error or something. But I just wanted to call that out, to make sure that the wrong thing doesn't get put in the permit record, anything like that.
Yeah, I understand from your previous conversation that it was identified that there were redundant references to the floodplain and landscape management zones. And the intent was to remove that redundancy and retain urban area reserve, airport overlay, add rural residential 10, add floodplain, add multiple use agriculture, add landscape management combining zone, add airport safety combining zone, and add wildlife area combining zone.
Yeah, it's just in the exhibit B, and I can show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not lined out.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
I think maybe perhaps there's opportunity through any motion to read in that correction.
I would add that under floodplain district, at the map symbol FP is in there twice, as well as a third one outside of the graph in the margin.
Duly noted.
Microsoft strikes again.
So do we need to just say with
Scrivener,
Scrivener errors, or how would we want to present this if we want to move forward with it?
Either Scrivener errors or as Matt just outlined.
We go back to that presentation slide. That looked really clean.
And Mr. Hasty has his hand up as well. He might have some.
Yeah, while I bring this up, he can please.
Yeah, I just want to note that one of the issues with the two floodplain references is that there are in fact two floodplain overlays with the same name in the county's code. There's one in Title 18 and one in Title 21. And so the duplicate entries in that table for that particular zone might be related to that. I'm not positive, but I guess I would, if you were going to sort of amend the motion or something, I would just probably advise to amend it just to say address any inconsistencies or inaccuracies in the table or something like that, just to make sure we don't delete a reference that actually does need to be there, because it's, so you see the one up top doesn't have an asterisk, and the one below does have an asterisk, and there's one that's struck out. So I would maybe, we might not want to mess with the floodplain references. So I'm sorry about that confusion, but I think that's maybe what's going on with that one.
Yeah, I think on our end there is just
I think it's a table.
it's a table error. It's a, I just really think it's a Scrivener's error on this end. So I just want to make sure that the proper table is, we're approving the proper table and everybody's agreeing on that.
Question about procedure, in doing this first table, one in Exhibit A. Back there, keep scrolling. It's clear, and that table I've been looking at, and which I also believe everything references. Can we refer to the information as presented in
I
table?
think it's in the staff report is
The staff report, thank you, that's why I can't find it. So, yeah, as presented in the staff report under 21.08.010 as what we believe we're approving. I mean, how do we say that to not reference the table deeper down, which looks nothing like this?
It does seem like a Scrivener. It almost looks like a PDF problem.
It looks to me like that too.
Keys and stuff like that.
Yeah, it just says stuff outside the table.
What I heard, Matt Hasty say is that we could approve with, changes to address any inconsistencies in the zoning table. Is that?
There you go.
I mean, that's what I heard him say. Now I'm asking, is that?
if I could recommend something, I think if we just use the term Scrivener errors, that gives him a little bit of latitude to fix the table and maybe something that's not even in the table. If we just kind of keep it generic at Scrivener errors as discussed, I think that would be legally fine.
And if I could, this is a recommendation to the county, right? You're not, this is not a.
It's not even our code, so.
Yeah, okay.
And it's captured in the minutes now.
Yeah.
Nor is it a decision. I mean, going back to the intent of this is to review the planning commission's recommendation and comment. But we've heard the comment, and so we can make those corrections and clarify them.
Policy, we're just creating recommendations to policy.
Right.
There you go. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. With that clarification, I will ask for a motion on resolution number 2016-16, a recommendation for county file number 24726000459-TA.
I move to approve resolution number 216-16, subject to correcting Scrivener errors as stated in the minutes. The second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Deliberations. Okay, it's time for a vote and we will do a roll call vote. I'll start with Council President McDougall.
Aye.
Councilor Predin.
Aye.
Councilor Pellerin. Aye. Councilor Ross.
Yes.
And myself is also a yes. I so passes with 5 and no nays.
I thought you were gonna say, yes, I guess.
Oh, yes, and
And all of a sudden, Dr. Seuss is funny to me.
yes, and it's, I'll say yes, and. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for that.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt.
Yes, thanks to all the Matts.
All the mats.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to public improvement contract to Tri-County Paving. Jackson Mensch. Explain this to us. Welcome, Jackson.
Good evening, council. So as many of you know, in the spring, we assessed the condition of all of the roads in the city. During our last assessment, we identified several roads or section of roads that were in need of an overlay. That can be due to the level of degradation to that pavement. Last time it received a slurry seal or a chip seal, since it was either new construction or its last overlay. The roads we identified needing an overlay were a section of East Cascade Avenue that's immediately in front of City Hall between Locust and Cedar, the entirety of Cottage Lane, the southern half of North Road Place, and a small section of East Black Butte Avenue. We issued a public bid in late July. 4 bids were received from Oregon paving contractors, and Tri-County Paving received the low bid, or had the low bid at $94,702.30. It's a little bit over our engineer's estimate, but we did budget $140,000 for this pavement treatment. The contractor will have until the end of this calendar year to complete this work. And of course, all nearby and affected businesses and homeowners will receive notices well in advance, considering the impact to them.
You have to provide notice to City Hall.
We just did.
We will give ourselves a notice.
So we say 50,000, there's the endowment for
Yeah.
it's, sorry. It's not
right.
the worst idea in the world.
All right, anybody have any questions or comments for Jackson? All right, I'm hearing or seeing none. Okay, would anybody like to make a motion?
I move to approve a public improvement contract to Tri-City Paving LLC.
Tri-County.
County, what did I say, Tri-City?
Yeah. Yeah.
All this city, county
No,
stuff.
I don't think we're hiring anybody. from
Anyway, a public improvement contract to Tri-County Paving LLC in an amount not to exceed $94,702.30 for the 2026 pavement maintenance project, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city and any necessary change orders and or amendments within a contingency amount of 5% of the contract amount.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And no nays? Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we have our annual community grant awards. Monica Burmeister.
Thank you. Tonight we have the 2026-27 fiscal year community grant awards for your consideration. The city has awarded more than $400,000 in the last 2 decades to organizations to support local organizations and programs that benefit the Sisters community. The city has budgeted $30,000 for community grants this year. We received 33 applications requesting a total of $79,762. You were all given those 33 applications for review and have put in your thoughts and recommendations for allocations. And our finance director, Joe O'Neill, will be sharing that spreadsheet.
All right. Well, great job, Monica. Thank you. And hopefully, can you guys see that very well? You can say no, it's fine.
On my computer.
On the computer. Okay. So the hard copy you have actually has a different kind of allocation in here. You all did a very good job, and there was, as you can see, about $600 left over
from kind of the majority awards that you all gave to these applicants. So just like we did last year, it seemed to work pretty good as a starting point. We allocated that $600 towards all of the kind of the majority recipient applicants here. So I think in your copy, you have about $20. I think or Monica caught that Smart actually also received that, which they'd already received 500. So we reallocated that $20 to them. So now each applicant received $21.43 to make everybody square. So if that is the same approach that you all want to use again, that is the tool that we can use to get to that place, unless you choose something different.
I'm good with it.
I will say that this is my 6th year doing this, and it is this very complex range of emotions because it is amazing to read about all these different organizations and their projects and again, volunteerism and the creativity of the people in our community. And it's so exciting and fun to read this. And then I wish I had all the money in the world to fulfill all of their requests, but we don't. So then that's the hard part of it as well. It's kind of a stressful project, but I just wanted to take a moment to recognize everybody who submitted for applications. Just amazing work that's going on in our community continues to. And glad that we can at least help a little bit.
I think that at some point I'd like to have a discussion before we do next year's round about maybe the documentation that goes out setting an upper limit on grants. I mean, we had a couple that were significant, push that total up quite high. I'm not saying they aren't valuable, and I'm not saying they aren't important, but when you have $30,000, $79,000 worth of requests, I think we're setting people up for disappointment.
So
Especially those that maybe have a bigger number in mind.
So my feedback on that, at least for this year, not to our group, but just to some of the, anybody who did ask for particularly large amounts, is that if it's a very large amount, not in line what we usually give, I find it hard if it's not described what would happen if it were a smaller amount. So if someone asked for, $100,000 and I don't know what they would do with $1,500, then, is the project a go or not, then that's just a hard situation to be in. So that's feedback I would send out to the community. I do like the idea of maybe capping it to help with that situation.
I just don't like to raise expectations and then have people be fully disappointed, but I thought it was a good group. Everything I read looked real good. And I appreciate your comments too as well. I think that's a really reasonable sort of a thing to say.
I think I noticed that a few of the higher ones were their first time. And so they just kind of don't know. Our grant program is built to the size of our community, which is kind of on the small side. And I think that it would be best, if at all possible, to have the grant applications be of a similar size to our grant program, because obviously the more big ones we have, it really kind of skews things a little bit. So just my thought. I'm glad that they applied though, and hopefully they'll try next year and see how things go.
Other than that, I'm fine with it. I'm sorry.
You have any comments, Cheryl?
No, just that I believe in on the website, for the applicants, it did state kind of what our average grant award has been. Maybe we also add how many people actually apply, because it's a big number, just to try to get around that a bit, because it's hard to see a request that would take up half of the total pool of money. So it might help them next time.
And I'd also like to say this is going to be my last time. So I would just remind future councils, to every once in a while, just reevaluate how much we're giving away. And if there's years that are more affluent, with tax dollars in the future, there may be, maybe some thought to increase the amount, not a huge amount, but I think that we need to grow this grant program in the future somewhat similar to what our growth may be population wise.
What was it last year, our total budget, Joe?
We were 30 last year as well.
Yeah.
Oh, for total budget? Yeah, it was about $4 million less.
No, I'm sorry.
No, the
Oh,
grant,
this?
The grant program was 30,000 last year as well.
Same.
I think it's 20 the year.
I think we bumped
I
it
know
up.
you're about changing them.
Okay. I did see some of the grants that we continuously get every year for the same thing. Their request actually bumped up because the cost of things are
Yep.
going up. But our total didn't go up. So I think that's something we should take into consideration.
Be tied to inflation.
Yeah.
I just think it's always a good thought. Great program, if you ask me.
I love giving money away.
Who doesn't?
Very happy.
And yes, for simplicity's sake, splitting up the 600, is fine with me. I don't, and Michael said you were okay with that. Does anybody?
Seems fair.
And that happens because they take all of these, average them together, put them down through, so we all spend right to the limit.
Yeah.
But when you start the averaging, then some dollars pop up here and there.
Yeah, but you were much closer. I think last year was a few $1,000s, so well done.
Getting better.
Yeah.
I did have a question about the very bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is gonna be the same as what we have in our report. No, it's not there.
Oh,
So fan was in here,
oh, uh-huh.
the 3,000 that we gave. And I wasn't sure why it was included in here.
I think we just provided that for context, is to make sure that you knew that you were still providing that as a grant, even though it's in a separate line item from this one. So it's not in that.
Before that, why is it fan just part of this grant program? And I think the response was,
They were forever.
Actually, the money that goes to FAN is, I can't tell you which programs, but I think it's programs that they are taking care of for the city, allocating.
Yes, it's a utility assistance program, so in a way, it's also non-cash, which is a little bit unique.
Shower tokens, I think.
Shower tokens as well. Mhm.
And I think that we pulled it out from this chart because every year we kind of pushed it to full amount, and we said, to be fair to all these other things, since these other ones are not really city-driven, are by us activities. This one was, so we thought we should do that as a separate line item grant.
I'm fine with that. I think,
But I think that's why.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have to see it next year again.
No, I don't think we have to.
It confused me a bit. I was wondering if we were reconsidering where that ends up.
I can remove it next year. It's there because they apply the same time. They put in a community grant application during that month of July, so it is coming into us the same way. So it doesn't have to be on the spreadsheet next.
Does that come before council to approve?
It
comes right now.
The community grants, which is.
It's budgeted on a different line item in the budget.
Right, but we will here be approving fan?
Yes.
I think
It's already good.
You prove it through
You prove it through the budget.
That's what I thought. So what are they applying?
It's
You
just,
guys lost me.
it's past history. It's just, they were always applying, and I think we went ahead and just budgeted and never asked them to change the process.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always good to hear about, what they're doing with the utility assistance and.
Oh, Harry Prosser has.
So we asked them to fill out the application as a tracking, so they ask for the funds, we'll get some tracking for the fiscal responsibility of the grant. So it is the same form, we try to make it easy for them, but it is a separate piece, so that's why they turn in an application.
Okay.
As part of our just tracking
And we're approving it as a result of our decision here, if we approve all of this together.
It's been approved in the budget.
It's already been approved,
Already been-
so we're not
asked for
approving.
them for the
We don't have to.
application, So.
I had thought that would be.
Okay, so we're only talking about here, a motion to approve the community grant program, not the fan line item, which is separate. Thank you. I'll ask it again next year probably, but try not to.
Yeah, right.
Good to have the history come up with it.
I like that discussion.
Really do. Okay, you have a motion.
I move to, go ahead, you go first.
I move to award community grants for fiscal year 2026-27 as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Hey, static eye.
You need me to read these out or we could just? There was a spreadsheet.
As presented is fine.
That's presented.
There was a day, but
I
I
know.
know, read them all.
Great, so let me see.
Remember those?
Here.
I've done that a couple. I'll run from the room.
Thanks to all of these wonderful programs, nonprofits, efforts to bring value to our community. I'm so impressed every year when I read applications and what people are doing.
And I would add that the sad thing for me, and we talked about this, is that I know that these requested amounts are what they think they need. When you have to narrow it down by literally double the amount of money that's in there, that everyone ends up a little less than what they want, but I tried, and I know everybody else who tries to look at that and balance it as best we can.
It's like spreading butter on a piece of toast. It's all good.
So it goes off the end.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We've moved on to condiment.
We all are gonna miss. We getting.
All right, other business. We're almost there. We're almost there. Response to prior meeting public comments.
No questions or comments to respond to?
Okay. And staff comments.
Right.
In short.
Yes, sir. Okay,
I want to hear all the details.
Carrie, in her workshop, kind of spoke to the work of the art, and the arts board's first meeting, which was yesterday, and Councilor Peller might have some additional comments on that, but it was mostly focused on orientation. Kind of the official startup of your newest advisory board. We have 4 candidates that are officially on the ballot for city council. All 4 are in the building. Congratulations to good luck to our candidates. Carrie will be sending out the draft city council rules, I think tomorrow. So you have them, a lot to read. So you have them in advance. Thank you to Councilors Pellerin and Ross, for all your help on that. The workshop is scheduled for September 9th for the city council to review those. Annual audit is underway. You may be receiving, inquiries, from the auditors. If you can respond when you get a chance. Thank you for checking if that is a phishing attempt. I know Quahog Valley Financial is our auditors, and that's official. Staff also participate in that.
I'm clicking on that without asking.
You've been trained well. Your next council meeting, like I said, is on September 9th, with a workshop and city council meeting. And then we do have that special workshop, like we did last week. It's scheduled for September 16th. That meeting will be with our fire officials, and we'll be kind of kicking off serious discussion and direction from council on our wildfire resiliency council goals. Just brief update on community development, and basically big night tomorrow night, with the public hearing at the Deschutes County Planning Commission on the text amendments that you are recommending for the conversation or the hearing tonight, and then the UGB amendment. So staff will be there, legal counsel and consultants to present those items and answer questions. And then likely that they'll have deliberations and decision in September.
I'm sorry, Jared, I didn't hear that last.
Oh, after the public hearing, typically the county usually has a public hearing, and then planning commission will deliberate and make a decision at their next meeting. And then it will forward to the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you.
So you do not expect a decision tomorrow night about the,
I don't know. I mean, it's
From the-
not the typical
Okay.
practice. Yeah.
regarding the UGB?
Right.
Okay.
Public Works, Jackson for some updates here and also Paul. Timber Creek, will be getting some stormwater swales, that will be installed. If you remember, one recent test was in December with the rain events and some of the localized flooding there. So it was a good opportunity to identify an area that had poor drainage that can use some more swales to help with some of that, flooding. We have some new staff vehicles per the budget, that have been purchased and arrived. We get these from all over the place, but we find great deals. They look like new, but they're used trucks. And then we surplus our old vehicles, and you sometimes see those come before you to make that surplus declaration. And then we do that alongside our cuttings of the hay that we grow out the Lazy Z. Road projects are underway. You approved the overlay projects tonight. There's other things that you've seen around town. And it's our almost Jackson's favorite time of year when we do, crack sealing and the slurry seals, the fog sealing. All that's followed by road striping that needs to be done as well.
Today.
Yep, they were doing it today on those sections that were chip sealed. And then speaking of pavement, Adams Avenue, being able to drive down there on the phase 1 is paved. Right now is landscaping. So you've seen probably street trees going in, plantings and going in today, and some of the other landscape features. They're working on the electrical and street lights. And then phase 2 is well underway with the earthwork and curbs being poured. Elm Street pathway, if you've gone down Elm Street to, you've seen the curbs and the crossings there. And the path has been sort of roughed in, right, with paving to come. It will be under construction over the next few weeks. The bridge is ordered. That will be the last piece. So we'll have a pathway up until the creek and then after the creek, but unfortunately, the bridge takes quite a long time to build. One minor change that's happened with the bridge is not minor, change worth noting. It's we've added 12 feet to it, the length, as the contractors got in there, taking a look at the creek banks. The engineer made the recommendation to redesign the abutments to move them back, which will lengthen the bridge by about 12 feet. It's 8 feet by 70. So nice bridge for bikes and pedestrians. And maybe art later. In its own way, it's artful. It's got that steel. Yeah. Maybe a troll statue. I don't know. Okay. And then finally, Edgerton Road, the transmission main project. We had special, permission from the Forest Service to be able to do that road crossing at 242 to get that work done and and then now we're back to being shut down while there's a industrial kind of work hold in the National Forest due to the fire risk. But that work was completed. Everything looked good. Paul sent me lots of pictures of pipes that I'm sure is exciting, and I'm happy to share if you want to see them. And yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Sure. What does it cost to stripe the streets? I mean, they bring quite an apparatus and a couple of trucks. It can't be cheap. I'm just curious.
I think what you've seen out there, done today, $5,000-6,000.
I'm just kind of curious.
Is that a county vehicle?
Yes.
Right.
The county, does the chip seal for us. They did the fog seal afterwards. And then they do the striping.
Well, they have a nice brand new paint truck.
It's brand new. It's hyper efficient, better than those grocery cart paint stripers that you see us out and about when they can just drive right down it and it's done.
We'll be painting parking stalls again, right?
Comes with memories.
$3.78 a linear foot. Exactly.
But I was just kind of curious, because I thought it was a private contractor when I saw this big shiny brand new truck, but they've got new dump trucks too. So I guess they found a little bit of cash to buy some hardware with.
Sometimes we get their
Yes, which is pretty good shape.
Surplus is the word.
Surplus, sorry.
Yeah. We're allowed to have their dregs. All right, any other questions of staff? Comments?
Good job tonight, everybody, really.
Yeah,
You got an all-star crew.
you know, Matt made a run for it.
Yeah,
understandably.
good for him.
Yeah. All right, council comments or updates? Start down here.
Yeah, sure. I was on vacation for most of the time, the last couple of weeks. Sorry that I missed a special meeting on annexation. I followed along and later, and you guys did a great job. I think that my comments wouldn't have added much more, if anything. So good job, everybody. I want to talk about EDCO a little bit. Eric kind of, we did the enterprise zone thing. I think that was very prudent of us to do so, to join it with Redmond and Bend and just have a concise regional policy. So we're all the same. If we had decided to do something different, it would have been a little weird, I think. So I'm glad we did that. And I had a meeting with the EDCO Regional Committee Executive Committee, which is the top people that work with John a little bit on some of the higher topics. And the revenue task force that I worked on over the spring, we're going to move forward as a revenue implementation committee. And I went ahead, since I'm going to be doing less here over the next year, I decided I would continue to do that with them through that process, even if it's past January 31. I can do it as a business owner, EDCO member. And so I want to help them find ways to streamline revenue, do subscription models for small businesses. And we're talking about an endowment. So now I've said it 3 times and it's weird. But I think it's a really good model for EDCO to do so long-term. And get an endowment going where they can basically forecast their own revenue. They've relied on the state forever, and that piece of the pie has been dwindling and dwindling as the revenue gets divided up more at the state level. So I think it'll be great for their independence long-term to kind of do an endowment model where businesses can even gift into it even more if they want to help support EDCO long-term and have current business support future business, kind of like we do with SDCs in the city. And I think it's a really good idea. The hard part is implementing it, and the first step's always the hardest, and then every step after that's easier. So I'm pretty excited about doing that because I think it's a really kind of dynamic way of funding economic development. But the organization can fund itself and rely less on state and on grants. That helps everybody, actually.
Would those be EDCs?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. And I think that's it. Thank you.
You, Cheryl came out of my mouth, so how about that?
As mentioned, the Public Arts Advisory Board met and had their orientation and picked their chair, their vice chair, and good group of people. They had good questions, good ideas to kind of throw around. Got me thinking on some things as well that we had collectively. Really looking forward to working with them and serving as the liaison for that group. I toured Brooks Camp Village. As you know, Kathy Russell gave us an email on that, and I didn't know we could. Well, I toured it. So I went in there and we have a little community, all manufactured homes, and did a little research on manufactured versus modular, if they're on a chassis or not, if they're HUD or not. So I was starting to try to build a little chart for myself to understand that better as we talk more about annexation. And I had a discussion with Jordan in our one-on-one about, well, maybe we just need to catch up. What does our code currently support? And I'm not completely clear on that when it comes to this idea of modular home. So I think we'll have more discussion on it. I want to understand it better, thinking about what Boxkill is doing and more advancements in the modular space. Then I did a town tour with Eric Strobel. I tagged along as he was giving one for Sean Keithley, the new COIC Community Development Director. And it was good. I think I haven't done one in about, might have been almost 2 years now with Eric. So it's good to see the growth of our manufacturing areas, our businesses, and just remind myself of all the different businesses that we have here in our economy situation and what their challenges are. We discussed the unique needs of a rural community versus Bend, for example, and it was a good discussion. And Eric will be joining me on the next SEDS meeting, which will be in October. Again, talking about inland ports and, other ideas that we could potentially help generate some economy in our Central Oregon region. That's it.
Thank you. Sarah? So I wrote this out so I don't forget any part of it. Carrie and I on Monday night attended the monthly coordinated houseless response office and regional housing council meetings. And been in the news lately that there was a large drop in the funding of the statewide shelter program this year. And this is causing strain on a lot of local programs that run shelters or have services for houseless people. And right now, that drop in funding hasn't affected sisters organizations, but it remains to be seen how it affects our population, like any of our population who does need assistance and might need to go to a shelter as those have strains on their capacity. The funding is expected to be cut even further next year, possibly in half. So I just want to kind of keep that on people's forefront of your mind. But I also wanted to put out there that this is affecting Mountain View Community Development, we had Rick Russell come and talk about safe parking, and it's affecting their programs in both Bend and Redmond. But is that I still plan to advocate for us to move forward with the safe parking code. Because I think the scale that we're looking to do, if our partners can work together to figure out ways to do it on a super small scale with low budget, there may be ways to do that without needing to access the state funding. And I'd like to ask our partners whether that's a possibility or not before just giving up on it. So, yeah. That's it. Thank you.
I think safe parking needs guardrails.
Trying to do an infrastructure joke there.
This is like dad joke night, I think.
Very.
Not too much. I mentioned in our workshop about attending the SBA meeting the last week, I think it was. Interesting group of people. I know several of you have attended these meetings. My first one there. And just hearing what's going on around the community, what people are doing. There is a few people out there that are hiring. And a new member there was Habitat. They've joined and we're attending. And they are actually hiring, I think, a new manager for the store. Benefits and reasonable salaries. So if you know anybody that's interested, let them know.
Was that was that meeting at the Nugget?
No, it was at Eurosports.
Eurosports, excuse me. That was the meeting before, sorry.
And at that meeting, I was approached by 3 people saying, well, gee, we only have 3 people running for city council. Now we have 4. And I told them, I said, I really hope we get more because it's always better when people have a choice rather than just opening and nothing to do with anybody who's in this room or at all. But I think that's the way this process should be. And so 4 is better than 3, 5 is better than 4. That's how I kind of look at it. So that's really pretty much all. But other than I did get a nice correction letter. And I don't know if we're doing it to everybody or not, because I used the word mobile homes for Brooks Camp, and they are modular homes in Brooks Camp. There is a difference. So I want to correct the record. And I think that when we talk code, I think that's really what we're talking about, our modular construction. Thank you.
All right. And then, last but not least, me, I attended the vision implementation team meeting and Carrie was there as well. And it was also, SBA, Sisters Business Alliance, Association was, kind of the main presenter there. So, interesting, they had done a survey that they had sent out to a lot of their members and then people who even aren't members, but business owners and sisters that they had their email addresses for. And, so I had some interesting, feedback on, challenges and opportunities. Had a really great discussion because that was one of the, I think, the focuses of the VIT this year. I think we had kind of 3 focus areas and one was trying to help businesses. So I think we had some good discussion around that, but kind of the greatest hits around still, challenges with hiring and housing. If you can think of anything, Carrie, that they brought up, I don't have my notes in front of me.
It's quite a bit of brainstorming around different ideas, and I think housing for their employees did come up a number of times. But also just different ways to bring people throughout, different businesses came up as well, so. And that the fact that SBA is all volunteers, like a lot of our nonprofits are.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to get some of that work done when they're also running businesses. But it was a great conversation, it was our second conversation, so.
Yeah. It was great to have them there and, connect them. I think we made some connections and yeah, they're a growing organization and I think important in our community. So it's great to hear from them. I attended the Community Builders, monthly events and, Sarah was there as well, and that was at, our newest, city-funded, slightly partially project of the Trinity Place apartment building. So that was a construction site tour, which I think that, the project managers were very nervous about. Having 40 people walk through there with
Nails.
me not supposed to be there, a lot of nails sticking out of things.
Nails, holes.
I didn't see anybody get hurt, no tetanus shots needed. But just such an amazing project and, people are really excited about it. It was great to have like kind of just diverse swath of community members. It's an open meeting and people can attend any month. Every month. And, so a lot of people getting to see that project and it's just, it's a very high quality building. It's gonna be very, tight and efficient. They got a resiliency grant to get, a 30 kW solar array, which is massive, and backup batteries to be able to power some core areas in the building if there was a power outage. So that's phenomenal, not only for that building, but also for our community as well. Because if we do have some sort of major power interruption, these are really critical places in our community that we can do a little cooking and charge phones and things like that. So, and because of our mild winter, one silver lining is that they've been able to truck on through the winter and build. So I think they're hoping to be completed in late spring. I think that's the last thing we saw.
But
So
we're roofing the other day when I went by, so it's always
Yeah.
nice drying it in.
yeah, and again, Clayton Crowhurst with Northwest Housing Alternatives, just speaking towards how part of his job is to really keep those relationships with all the subcontractors and things like that amenable and at the, very least, but he's just been saying how well all the subs and everybody's been working really well together and he's just been so excited about that and also all the contractors it's nice to go out into a project where people are kind of getting along because it's like anything else, there's a lot of things to disagree on. So that was a great opportunity to see that project halfway through. And then last week, Matt Martin and I attended Project Wildfire Neighborhood Coalition meeting, which is a Deschutes County group based out of the Project Wildfire group out of Deschutes County, and they like to do a road show, hit other communities. So they were sisters, but their speaker was from the city of Bend. So interesting for Matt and I to hear her presentation, Melissa Steele from the fire department in Bend. talking about how they're trying to work through defensible space and or home hardening for City of Bend code, because they're a few years behind us on this process. So getting a presentation on her take. They've got a whole committee working on that, bigger city, bigger staff. But Matt and I got to sit through that, and then we're going to meet with a few key members of that committee in a week or so as well. They requested, they wanted to learn more. And this is mostly just made up of people that are the Firewise community leads. But these are like the the in it to win it crowd. I mean, they know IBHS forward and backwards. They know the science and the policy, and then they're sitting there with their spare time researching all this. A really great group of people who are really dedicated to being great leaders in their neighborhood. So yeah, they just want to learn more about what Sisters is doing. So we'll talk with them next week. I can't remember if anybody wants to join that conversation. Let me know. Be here, and that's it. All I have. Anything else? Any go backs? All right. Well, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.